the deeper you dig, the more it will cover up the good of the United States. The American people are a great people. The Chinese...
Excited to have you, amazing viewer, at Comfort for Life. Thanks for your continued support. Allow me to give you a brief intro for background so that you understand what is this video about. So I've been interacting with this girl's content, lady's content, for a while now, and she's been so invested in knowing what is happening in China and how they carry on their politics and everything concerning them, because she felt like she really needs to learn a lot from Chinese. And the response that she got from Chinese in this video is mind-blowing. I'll let you listen to what this clip has to say, but before we dive into this, kindly like the video for recommendation, subscribe if you're new here, and let's dive into this.
I joined the Chinese social media app Xiaohongshu about 3 weeks ago, and it has been an absolute wild ride. I have had some of the deepest, most profound and meaningful conversations with people across the planet. For the most part, in our culture, have been villainized. And as far as I can tell, I don't really understand why. I have had the most surprising advice about how to handle the diplomacy and the positive outlook for my own country from these citizens. And I have to say that aside from sharing the initial post that I did, where I share like an exchange of what kind of welcoming and wisdom I was getting with these complete strangers from across the pond, it's now approaching like 200 something thousand views, but not just here. I read what went viral here in the United States on the Chinese social media app Xiaohongshu, and now that has almost 1 million views. So this diplomacy of us finally breaking this information cocoon and being able to communicate with one another is been nothing but positivity. It has been eye-opening. And if you join the app, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I have to admit that in my time being on Xiaohongshu, some of the things that I've been talking about have been really negative when it comes to how we do things here in the United States. Things that honestly they would not get away with saying in their own country about their own government. And so it came as a massive shock to me when, from the same person that I went viral with sharing her message, she reached out to me about some of the content that I was sharing on Xiaohongshu regarding my opinions about the United States of America. And this is what she said. Do not magnify the shortcomings of your own country. Look at the United States. In medical technology, talent cultivation, and Silicon Valley base, aren't there many aspects that influence the world? Certainly. Try not to deeply dig into the shortcomings of your own country, because the deeper you dig, the more it will cover up the good of the United States. The American people are a great people. The Chinese people are also a great people. We should work together to be good ambassadors of publicity. Just talk about the good of the United States, and it will enhance your own and your country's magnetic field, and the United States will definitely get better and better. If you believe your country has a lot of good, you will boost the country's fortune, which is the national destiny. A person can abuse, mock behind one's back, and use violence against another, but to confront it, you must have strength. However, during this process, do not harbor hatred or resentment, because a person should have a sense of identity with their own country. It may treat you poorly for 10 years, but we can spend 20, even 30 years to influence it. Why does this world need China right now? Why does it need the Chinese solution? In Chinese culture, there is a kind of endurance called hidden tolerance, which does not mean that one truly does not care, but rather that one needs to slowly grow into a giant. China is now a giant, inseparable from the efforts of every Chinese family, which has led to the stability and unity of us all. Enduring quietly is not giving up. Chinese people speak gently and rarely argue. Why is that? Arguing doesn't solve problems. Solutions are needed, and problems need to be solved together. The earth is a place where you are in me and I am in you. A warm, big family. It's not enough for just one country to be good. All countries must be good together. This emphasizes unity and joint efforts in building the future. That's Sangshan Ryoshi, and I am probably not saying her name right. but she's been such an incredible influence on me, and now hundreds of thousands of other citizens all across the planet, and just uniting as a people and having faith in the country that we live in and that is our home. Because talking negatively about something and arguing with one another isn't going to solve the problem. So this is me taking a vow on the internet that while I know that I've made some waves and gotten a bit of attention from speaking some negative viewpoints about the things that I think need to change drastically in this country, I am no longer going to phrase any of it in a negative light. I will make it my mission to work together so that we can come together united in positivity and strength, so that we can create the world that we want together on so many different levels by feeling what we want to create in the world. Thanks, China. Oh, the irony.
All right, after being on Rednote, I have a question for my Chinese Americans.
Okay, so I'm Chinese American and I can help you answer your question as to why there are Chinese people moving to the US, given how cool Chinese cities are, how high-tech they seem, and how advanced they are. And the simple answer to this question is that none of the stuff you see today, the robots, the high-speed rails, the metro stations, the infrastructure, how clean it is, all those high-rises, all those skyscrapers, none of that existed 30 or 20 years ago in China. And that time frame, the 80s and 90s and 70s, that's essentially when the kind of immigration to the US from China, when it all kind of started. So here's a picture of Shenzhen, China, which is one of the 4 tier 1 cities in China. The top picture is Shenzhen in 1980s, and the bottom picture is Shenzhen in 2016. And as you can see, in the 1980s, Shenzhen was a literal fishing village. There was nothing there. And in the bottom picture, all of that was built in the span of 30 years. So if you were a poor working person in China, right, in the 80s and 90s, then I would say moving to the US, that decision would be a no-brainer. It would be the best and the right choice for you and your family in that time period. But nowadays, it's not as easy of a decision to make because, yes, US dollar is still worth more than Chinese RMB, but there are other factors, right? There's the quality of life, way of life, safety, and many other things to consider now. So nowadays, I would say that kind of mentality is starting to shift.
How Chinese compliment Americans. Your skin is so pale and I love it. McDonald's is my favorite food in this entire world. Wow, you look so confident all the time. I wish I can be like you. Americans are so energetic. 2 grandpas can even run for president in their 80s.
China has a few advantages that we don't have. Chinese people believe in China. Half of Americans hate America. I think that's a huge advantage to have as a civilization, to believe that what you're doing is that you're part of something that's bigger than yourself and try to support your country. You know, we lack that these days in America. And that's a huge advantage to have. They're incredibly industrious people. They're working. They are hungry. They want success. They work 6 days a week. A lot of people don't realize that. I lived in China for 2 years. They work Saturdays. We don't work Saturdays. How much more productive would you be? Work an extra 20%. You know, they're industrious, they're hardworking, they're intelligent, they have a lot going for them. Their leadership is incredibly smart. They have some demographic challenges that are beyond my scope to understand because, you know, people are like, oh, the population's declining. China's not the worst in this by any means. There's Western countries, Italy and Korea, other countries that are declining faster. But I always think like, well, but isn't it better if you have fewer people to share the resources? I don't know how to think about that. They still have way more people than we do in the United States. So I'm not like a macro investor by any means. I did study a lot of economics. I always found macroeconomics to be possible. I think people who pretend they understand it are probably wrong. I don't make big, civilization level predictions like that. But I lived in China for a few years. I have immense respect for Chinese culture, Chinese people, Chinese food. There's a lot to love about China.
Wow, you've watched to this extent and you've not liked the video, kindly like the video for recommendation. She has just pointed out, and yeah, this content has brought out something that I've personally observed with my interaction with Chinese on social media. They have this sense of humor, and whenever they reply, whenever they comment on something, there's always something that makes sense, that carries a lot of meaning that comes out of them. And yeah, I'm in love with China at this point. Like, I'm in love with China. And the willingness that they have to make peace and to be in harmony with everybody, it's really heartwarming. I'm feeling like, oh no, what else do we need in our society than this? What else do we need than people who have that humanism in them, people who care about others more as they care for themselves. Let me not say more, because they are not supreme beings after all. Yeah, they're just people with morals, with good values, with good, should I say system, or are they just people with good education? This video is as well a wake-up call to those Americans who are rewriting their dreams and who are now believing that the new American dream, the real American dream, would be to leave the United States. So this is for you. This is a call for you to reconsider loving your country, be patriotic again. And leaving the country will not solve the problem of your country, but rather yeah, there are people who prefer solving the problem of their countries while distancing themselves from the problem. But also I doubt, with the system and the busyness that you guys are having, with the affordability of life, the cost of living, like I feel like people aren't even in the right place to think and to meditate and to think about themselves. Yeah, they're busy working, they're busy doing stuff to survive, not to live. And this is not just for Americans, this is for the whole continent. If you are in a country in America that's it, and you're feeling like you no longer believe in the dream, so this is for you. This is not just for those who are in the US. We know people in the US are the ones who are speaking, who are so vocal about their problems. But as you come to the internet, also try to see how you can speak a bit of positivity in your country. Yeah, try hard, try. Yeah, that was it about this video. I don't want to tell you what to do about your country, but I feel like, yeah, we should consider doing this for the benefit of our country, because our countries are beyond our governance. The country of America is you. It's you, the citizen of America. It is not about leaders, because we already know that our leaders are capitalists and they don't care about us. So the country is you. The country is to be kept well for your children. So speaking up, running out of the country is not the problem. So speaking up and challenging what is happening will be the way to go. Let me stop it here. I know I speak a little bit too much, and yeah. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, and thanks for your continued support to Comfort for Life. Kindly like the video, subscribe, and also share me out. Support the channel as well in ways you can. I appreciate you.